Hello and welcome to this fifth episode in the series of Making It Legendary, where I am reprinting legendary encounters in alien deck building games. So in this episode, we are going to make the lid for the box that we created in the previous episode. There's a few ways to approach this. I could just print out some sticker paper, but instead I think what I'm going to do is, a couple of years ago I took my favorite game, which I talked about in the first episode, which introduced me to solo gaming, which is Space Hulk Death Angel, the card game. And what I did was I created miniatures for it, so it kind of made it more like a board game instead of just a card game. I made these platforms where the cards slide in. I had to house all this, so I created a box, and the box uses 3D printed elements, which gives it some more dimension. So I think that's what I'm going to do here. So the first thing I need to do, and we're not going to go through this step by step. I'm going to open up Affinity. What is this called? Affinity Designer 2. Which is a vector-based program. Not as good as Illustrator, but it should work. So first thing I'm going to do is create my box. This is going to be more of a guide, not an exact replica. I'm going to do that in Blender when I go create these elements. This is just to get an idea of what I want to do. All right, so here we are back. I was playing around. Again, this is not a one-to-one. This is just playing around to see what looks good, what I want to do. And I went with black because the box is black. But I'm like, I in the previous box that I did, it was all gray and black and stuff, except for the logo. And I want to get away from it and want to try something that has color. And Alien, for some reason, just screams green. So I'm like, you know what? Let me get away from the black. And I went with green. And if I go here and take off this black, and this is what I came up with. I'm like, well, it's kind of doesn't really look that good. So I started bringing these things into black, and let me show you what happened. So I made these things black, and something occurred to me. This red gradient here, because red is a complementary color to green, that's why I chose red. But when I started putting this in here, I'm like, oh, you know what we can do with this is sort of, crop it here. See that? And what it reminded me was kind of like an alien landscape on an alien planet with a red horizon and a green sky. But what I'm thinking is, what if there's kind of like an alien landscape, something like this, and right here in the middle, there could be, in the original Alien, where you had the guys in their iconic alien suits, have three of them here, and then on the side here, have these xenomorphs sort of creeping in, or have some eggs. And I really like this. And I don't know. I think this might work. So let me go ahead, walk away, and work on this. All right, so coming back to this, I figured out why it looked so bright before I had HDR setting on. So let's start off with this. So here's the silhouette. Let me zoom in here so you can see a bit better. So here's the silhouette that I created, and I just did this by pulling up the movie and taking a screenshot of the actors in different positions. So because I'm going to 3D print this, I had to do this in sections. So here's the middle section here. I was going to put them in the middle, but it kind of changed. But I did put the eggs on this side. So instead of putting the aliens coming from the horizon, instead, after playing around, I found some images online of an alien head profile and silhouette. So I'm going to put these on the two sides. So on the sides of the box, let me pull out for this. On the sides of the box, I'm going to put some silhouette aliens here, just like that. Up next, we have our three logos and our core game, our 2019 expansion and 2016 expansion. I don't know if I'm going to keep these black. I was thinking of making these, either print them in a gold PLA or paint them. I'm not sure right now. So let me just go ahead and, I don't know, make them kind of gold. Let's see how that looks. I don't know what I'm going to do with this right now in terms of color. But we also have, if you look at the original box, we have the Upper Deck logo. So if we go back to here, we are going to put the Upper Deck logo on it. There's another logo on the box. If we go back to the box, it is this, the 35th anniversary at the time in 2000. When was it? 2016, 2012? I'm not sure. They have this 35th anniversary Alien logo from the original movie that was printed on the box. So I'm going to create that, and I think that's what we're going to do in Blender. So right now I'm just going to keep it as a circle with 35, but we are going to recreate it because I did find the original image. So we're going to be using this, and then it's just mainly the logos like this, and this will be printed out as one piece with raised lettering. I think we're going to go with this. This looks pretty good. The only thing I think I want to add, we'll go back here, an alien deck building game. So I think I might create a badge, and just in the middle here, create some sort of badge that says an alien deck building game. Let's just put a box in here just to see how it would look. Yeah, actually, you know what? That kind of balances it out pretty good here in the middle. I'm liking this. This looks pretty good to me. These are pretty simple. You just basically import them into Blender and you give them whatever extrusion depth you want. So the most complicated one here is pretty much this 35th anniversary logo. So I think what we're going to do is just do a walkthrough of how I would tackle this to make this kind of a 3D badge. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is open it up in Affinity Photo 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to concentrate on this ring because that's going to be the most time-consuming thing to create. Now, there's a bunch of ways to make this object in vector because you have to make it in vector. But the first thing, we're going to try something different. So the first thing we do is block out all of this noise in here and go ahead and fill that in. All right. Now I'm going to take the paintbrush and I'm going to make this a bit smaller. So there's absolutely nothing there. And I'm going to do the same thing here, a little bit where the N is and a little bit where the A is. Then I'm going to take these guys here, take a section of these guys. Let me zoom in. All right. I'm going to take this guy here. We're going to go ahead and go to our layers and make sure I am duplicating that little piece. And we're going to bring it up and cover that A. Where is it? Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other side and merge selected and then merge down. Now we got our one image. So now I'm going to go ahead and inverse that. I got to make this black and white. So I'm going to go to the layers here, black and white. And I'm going to mess around with the colors until I get a good contrast. Let's move out. There we go. All right, that's not looking too bad. I think I'm also going to bump up the levels. Let's see, the black levels here. And yeah, that's good. So I'm going to go ahead and save this and bring it into Inkscape. Here we are in Inkscape, create a new document, and now I'm just going to import our image. All right, so now we got our image imported. I'm going to go ahead and go to bitmap tracing, and I'm going to mess around with this until I get what I want. Something like that, I guess. I'm going to hit apply, and there it is. There's our clean vector. So I'm just going to go ahead with this, and when it comes to the other things, like the 35, the alien logo, and the egg, I'm just going to import the image, trace it. I'm not going to bore you with showing, me doing it. Instead, using the magic of editing, here it is. So basically, I just traced out the egg with the image, and I just recreated this using the Bezier tool. And yeah, that's it. So here are the 3 pieces. Now there's going to be one more piece that we do have to create. I could create this in Blender, it doesn't really matter, but we are going to need a nice circle. All right, this sits on top of here. This will sit in the middle, once again a little bit bigger, and then the alien, I'm going to create this. So each part here will be extruded differently. So let's go ahead into Blender and let's create this badge. All right, so here we are in Blender. So what I'm going to do is import all the pieces. I save them out as SVG individually. So we're going to go File, Import, and we're going to import Scalable Vector Graphics, or SVG, and go ahead and import all the SVG files, which I'm going to do right now, and through the magic of editing. All right, so I've imported everything, and you don't really see much, but if I zoom out, you're going to see this. This is huge. But the other pieces that I've imported, here they are. Look how tiny they are. All right, so you're going to have stuff like this happen. So just hit S and scale it up. Just keep moving your mouse, and I think that's pretty good. That's where I pretty much want it. Now the egg has to be bigger, so I'm going to go ahead and select the egg, hit S, and I'm going to make it that big. Sounds good. All right, first thing we need to do is, right now I can't make, as you can see, this is completely flat. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this alien, we're going to right click, we're going to go ahead and convert to mesh. So now it's converted to a mesh, and now we're going to object mode, into edit mode, and we're going to turn on this thing right here, which is X-ray, I guess you'd call it. Because if you don't have that turned on, for example, if I do this, you'll notice there's some black here and some faces did not get selected. So you have to turn this on, select all, and then hit E on your keyboard and extrude. Just point up. I don't care about the thickness right now. So now we're going to exit object mode. We're going to do the same thing for the egg. Extract that. And the last thing we need to do is jump out of edit mode, go to object mode, right click, convert to mesh, and go to edit mode again. Select all with X-ray on and extrude. So I'm just going to make this all gray right now by going into here and just using a default material. So the last thing I need to do is to put this all on a back plate. So I'm going to hit Shift A. I'm going to create a mesh, and I'm going to create a cylinder. Hit S. I'm going to scale it up, and I'm going to scale it also in the Z just to make it a bit thinner. You just hit S on your keyboard and then hit Z or X or Y or whatever axis you want to mess around with. So let's go to our top view here. All right, as you can tell, everything is off center. So what I'm going to try to do is select all of these things like that. And I'm going to go to Object, Transform, and Align Objects. And I'm going to align this to Z, X, maybe all of them. If you hit Shift Select, you could select all the axes. And there you go. And everything is now centered properly. So now what I need to mess around with is, if we go on the side view here, that's not what I want. I want this to be sitting on this medallion. I want this to be sitting on the medallion. And I want the egg to be sitting on the medallion, because at the bottom, nice and flat, and on the top, we have this. But what I'm going to do is select all of this, and I'm going to go ahead and join it or combine it. Control J. So now when I extrude it, see how it extrudes together? Kind of. So I want all of this to be half a millimeter. So 0.0, let's say 6. Right? Maybe not. Maybe a little bit thicker than that. Something like that. Right? Not too thick, not too thin. So we're looking at 0.3 millimeters. Oh, let's make it 0.3.5. And there we go. That is, I mean, I might play with this. I think it's a little bit too thin. But anyway, that is how I'm going to go ahead and make all of the 3D images or 3D elements that are going to sit on top of the box. So now that original box I made, let's go ahead and open that and just do what I just did here for all the elements. And then we can start 3D printing. All right, so here is the box that is now the exact size of the box that we created in the previous video. So now I could totally I could accurately create all these 3D elements and print them out. And here's our badge that we just created. I fixed it up a little bit more. But yeah, these are all 3D objects. And we have the sides. I also added these corner things here, which I got to print 4 of. You know what? Let me go ahead and clear out the floor. Here, that's better. All right. And yeah, that's the lid of the box. Now, of course, the color is not gray and black. So anyway, now all we have to do is export all these into STLs. And the way you do that from Blender is you select your logo, for example, or object. Select it here, go to File, Export, STL. Right? And now we're going to go into Cura, which is my slicer that I prefer, and we're going to go ahead and set up our 3D printer and send it off to print. So here we are in Cura, and if I just go, let's say import, say this, I want to print it. This is why I had to do it in sections, because it won't fit. But I mean, I could put other things in here too, just to speed up the process. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and create a bunch of these G-code files. And yeah, that's it. We're going to go ahead and print it and take it from there. So I had some orange PLA stuck in my printer. That's why you see some of the orange. But after an hour, because I didn't level the bed properly, I had a little printing error. But after leveling it properly, it started printing fine. And while it was printing, I decided to work on my other Aliens game. Aliens, Another Glorious Day in the Core. This is for the expansion of the game. Started painting the miniatures. Here's Ripley and the power loader. Came out pretty good. And of course, there's other little things I bought for the game, like the egg and the computer terminal. And here is the Queen. Anyway, enough of that. So it took a while to print all this. It took a whole weekend to print all the elements. And they started coming out good, however. And one side of the print, you see the print bed, how it's shiny. It produces a really good texture that looks uniform, as opposed to the opposite side, which gives you, and this is very typical for 3D printing, you get these like this border, but here you get no border. So this is what I'm going to be using, even though there are some parts that I forgot to flip. Anyway, I'm going to take some of this boxing tape and reinforce the edges. Not a big deal because they're going to get covered up. This is just for insurance. So while everything is printing, I'm going to go give it a coat of primer, black primer, and then I'm going to come in with the green. And the idea originally was to have it all green, but then I decided, you know what, why don't I keep the middle part green and top part black, and then apply red at the bottom. So that changed, the whole thing turned green. You'll see in a second. So here I'm going to be applying the red, And this went back and forth for a while. So I applied the red, noticed, oh, wait, the green's disappearing. So I put a little bit more green, and with all the back and forth, basically it ended up like this. So now I'm going to take a toothbrush and flick some paint to make stars. But instead I found this really good brush with stiff bristles because the toothbrush just wasn't working. And I went into my craft paint box here. I'm going to go with a metallic green for some of the stars and a metallic blue, just to experiment, but primarily it's going to be white. So after making a mess and destroying this brush, it came out like this. And this is what they did for Star Wars in the original movie. This is how they created the star field, by the way. So now that everything's printed, gave it a quick primer, and here it is on the box, all laid out. Of course, some elements still need to be painted again. This is just primer. And I went with silver. I was going to do gold, but after a test, you'll see at the end here, it didn't look that good. So I went with silver. It looked much better and readable. The only problem was it looked kind of flat. But anyway, the other thing that bothered me was the red border. I forgot to keep it black, so I taped it off, and using wax paper to protect the rest of the box, I painted the bottom black. So going back to the 3D printed elements, I gave it a wash because I didn't like how flat everything looked, and with a lot of back and forth, just painting it all black and wiping it off with thicker paint, you could see the difference here between the shiny and the second one from the top. It looks much better. And yes, I tried gold, and there you go. All right, and here is the lid all finished. I love the red. I wish it was just a little bit higher. Also, when I was marking the part that was going to stay black, I marked it a little bit too high. I should have measured that better, but that's all right. It's all good. The black looks good, and I really like how the treatment on the badges, I guess you would call them, the logo, came out pretty good. Looks like metal if you were here. I don't know how it's translating into video, but yeah, it looks great. Oh, and I also moved the 35 badge and the upper deck logo to the corners because it was just getting a little bit too busy over here. And yeah, I got the corners in. That's what these are for. And by the way, the box, oh, and I got the logo on the side. By the way, the box does sit upright perfectly. So that's a bonus. So anyway, I'm just going to end the video here. This video's been way too long, I think. I don't know. I haven't started editing it yet. There was a lot to do. So I'll see you in the next video where we'll start making the cards. All right. See you then.